Hey guys, Anthony 4x4 Diesel. We're going to do a quick chit chat while we're cruising down the road about the rattles in these diesels, in these 1KDs, or in your Hilux, my Hilux, or your Prado or my Prado. Bit of general chit chat and some final feedback on all the things we've done on our Hilux, the one I'm driving now, to try and see if there's anything can be done to get rid of those rattles. And in short, it appears the answer is no. So quick rundown for the people that have missed the other videos. It's always worth watching the other videos first. There's a playlist called Our 2013 Hilux or something along those lines it's called anyway. Watch those videos in the order of what age they are, and then you'll sort of be able to understand what's going on step by step. So the injectors that were in the vehicle originally, 2013, I thought they were a bit noisy, so I thought I'd throw a set of injectors at it. We put a new set of injectors into it. I don't think it made much difference. Then I was second guessing myself, going, well, it must have, but you know, but it's still noisy because that's either how they are or there's some other issue. So then what we did was, for entertainment, after a couple thousand k's of driving, whatever it was, we put those injectors, the new ones, into another vehicle, which they were fine, all quiet, happy days. And note, we mainly, when I say mainly, we do a lot more Prados than Hiluxes, and when we work on Hilux, it is mainly BFEs or injector jobs, you know, not servicing, that sort of thing. So that's why we don't see a lot of some of the other issues that may be common on Hiluxes, or more to the point, don't talk about it as much. And I've got another a really good one, but it's going to be in a separate video, and it's to do with Hiluxes. So if you're one of the Hilux guys and you haven't subscribed yet, now might be the time to just think about clicking that button and putting the bell on so you don't miss the next video, because it's a really important one that's going to save you from being stranded, and it's not necessarily going to be the next one after this. So now, firstly, when I say rattles, it didn't have cold rattles. So when you start up and drive it cold, it wasn't a really bad cold rattle. It wasn't any knocking noises that were bad. The oil pickup wasn't blocked. Now, everybody by now should know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go into detail. Search my playlist if you don't know what I'm talking about. Oil changes, blocked oil pickups, inject information. Check out those videos. So there wasn't any crazy knocking noises like, you know, oil starvation from blocked oil pickups. It wasn't injected that bad. It was creating a knocking noise. It's just rattles in general, you know. So then what we did, we put those good injectors into another vehicle. We knew anyway, but to confirm that they're good, no dramas, nice and quiet, you know, because it was a Prado, right? So then we took a set of injectors from a Prado that were being changed, just as, you know, preventive maintenance recommendation, 170,000 k's, 7 years old. And we went, okay, well, these can't be too bad. Let's chuck them in the Hilux and see if they're much worse than the new ones were, or whatever. So as we took the new ones out, the second set that went in, so the original ones went out, new ones went in, then the new ones came out, the new ones made in Japan, they came out, and then we put the 170,000 k Prado ones in, and went, I was a bit unsure, but there wasn't a lot of difference. Certainly had a little bit more cold rattle. So what we learnt from all this mucking around, and I suppose not just learnt here, but I suppose reinforced what we know in our experience already, that quite often with injectors, when you get wear on the injectors and they're not working right, you may hear it a bit when they're cold, not always. Like I said, the 150 Prados, between the insulation and the software, they're very good at keeping things quiet. So that's one that you really need to. Just going past the Tubarak pub. We just had our bit of a feed before, so we won't be stopping. I've heard they got some good meals. It was a good pies, I can't remember. Anyway, you can put it in the comments. Tubarak pub, has that got good pies, or is it good parmas, or what's good there? There's something that people have told me that's really good there. I haven't stopped in to try it yet. Anyway, the rattles, right? So it's actually quite, look, so what we've done now is we ran those 170 odd K injectors for a while. Okay, there's be a bit of video on that if you haven't seen it. You might have seen it, you might not have. And then I sort of went, I reckon this is noisier when it's cold, but once it's hot, it's about the same. So what we did now, and I've talked about different injectors. You got the Japan ones, the Thai ones. Of course, you got the other brands. You got the old stock. You've got the remanufactured, and you've got the counterfeit. We don't deal with any of that. The only ones we use is the brand new genuine. Whatever Denso or Toyota are supplying as brand new, fresh, genuine. When I say Toyota, as in what the listing of what's meant to be, not necessarily your local dealer. Their stock could be old as well, not with the latest upgrades. You know, I'm not saying they're bad, they're probably okay, but you just don't know. When you get the stock from me, you know it's brand new, latest, freshest stock with all the latest upgrades. And if there's any issues with anything, you're going to find out about it quickly, because obviously this is what we deal with and the information we provide in the VIP group. So we've got a set of the tyre injectors. Once again, you should know what I'm talking about now. I think I like them just as good or better than the Japan ones. You know, there's no problem with either of them. I just sort of like the packaging, and the sort of quality control on the outside from the packaging perspective looks a bit better, that's all. But I do like the more dull injector seats, even though they're both copper. They're both copper, but the Thai ones come with a shiny finish and the Japan ones come with a matte finish. Prefer the matte looking ones for whatever reason. Probably I've seen so many come out of engines successfully without blow by, and that's probably why I just, you know, like, you know, stick with what you know, if you know what I mean. So basically we've got the tyre injectors in now. They've been in for, yeah, I don't know whether it's 1,000 k's or two, couple of thousand k's or so, ballpark chit chat. And long enough to evaluate what the differences are. And I'll tell you, operational wise, rattle wise, knock wise, absolutely zero difference to the Japan set, the second set if you like. So this is the fourth set, the Japan set was the second set. The first set was the originals, the third set was the ones out of the 170 odd K Prado, right? So basically we probably should be going past this boat, but of course too much chit chat. They're doing okay. You know the usual problem though, like while having a bit of chit chat, mate, we're back down to 90 k's now. Unbelievable. Where did the slow cars go on the overtaking lane? Eh? Where did they go? I know, right? We're doing, you know, I mean on the speedo needle over 100, but you know, thereabouts on the overtaking lane. So you'd have to break the law to go past them anyway, because they speed up on the overtaking lane. Now we're doing actual about 85 k's now, so there's probably going to be an overtaking manoeuvre. This is the road between Toobreak, the Northern Highway. Heathcote's just up the road. There's a few stretches where you can get past along here, but again, once again, speeds up now. The road straightens out and they're probably going to speed up again. And I just want to say, in case somebody missed it from in the other videos, but I'm not that close to the vehicles in front of me. It's just because I've got the way I've got the camera set up and it zoomed a little bit. You know, you can see the bug catcher a little bit, but you might look like we're just about to run into them, or we have, and how is he not hitting them? It's just the perspective of the way the camera is. So perspective is needed. If I could give you a top view, you know, get a drone out and have it up there, you know, we could do that. But you know, that's just whatever. That's another subject, you know. So the rattles, you know, basically in the Hilux, what I've worked out is, and you don't get to work it out unless you own one, generally they're a lot noisier than the Prado. So you're not going to get the often 150 Prados are silent, okay, if not very quiet. The 120s are quieter than Hiluxes. I thought my 120 could be noisy at times. I'll tell you what makes it look good compared to a Hilux, even the Hilux with the full DLC later injectors, if you know what I mean. So what do we got here? I was decided I was going to go past. No, we're flying again. So, you know, I got into a bit. You know, this driving game, it's complicated, you know. If only people would use their cruise control. And believe it or not, now we've slowed down again. We're back to 90 k's. So, up and down like yo-yos here, the usual sort of operational procedure. So we'll just sit back and relax, because we're not in a hurry to go anywhere. So when the engine's cold, it's fairly quiet. And what I've noticed is the time that it rattles the most, and you may have this if you've got the 2012 or 13, or it could be any other year, they all have rattles at different RPMs and different loads, okay? So this one, like some of the others in their same vintage, the rattle starts at about 2000 RPM, so probably just a tad under, and it depends on load conditions. It rattles what you would think's pretty badly from 2 to about 2,500 revs. So if you're accelerating, it's loaded up. Once you get to about 2.5 grand, there's either enough engine noise or wind noise or whatever, you know, general vehicle noise, that you don't hear much after 2,500. So right now we're cruising along just under 100 on the needle. Yeah, we're going all right again, and it's about 750 RPM. And if I stop talking, you probably can't hear it. I'm on. Now I'm moving my foot on and off. Now if I accelerate, it goes away. If I back off, it goes away. But right at that certain load condition, you can get a rattle. Now that's all normal. Note we've got the radio off and the windows up. That's the only time you can hear it. If I put the window down, or the radio on, or a bit of both, it's all over. You're not going to hear it. So what we're talking about here is me and other people probably being a bit too fussy, right? Generally, I say generally, you don't want to hear it. You don't want to have a situation where you're getting a knocking noise. You also don't want to be confused between, is that a normal rattle or is that a problem injector rattle? Which, I tell you what, if you'd heard all these rattles from 4 different sets of injectors in this vehicle, it's pretty complicated. Which is why, once again, we go back to those general recommendations. 7 years, 170k is around about, you know, when you're getting close to getting around there or thinking about, that's when you can shoot me a few texts. This is what a lot of people do. They join the VIP group, they pay their $550 deposit for their injector kit. Can be used on you just buy a BFE kit if you want. BFE kits have been super popular, right? $770, you get everything you need. Big front engine job, BFE, right? Water pump, timing belt, idler, tensioner, cam seal, all the bearings for all the pulleys, the drive belt. Basically, that's why it's called a big front engine job. You just got to buy your coolant locally. We recommend genuine Toyota coolant. If you come and pick it up from me, right, you can get coolant. We keep coolant in stock, of course, but you can get coolant as well. So you might want to just get, everybody's going to need a BFE kit every 150,000 Ks if they want a reliable vehicle. All genuine parts, right? All genuine Toyota or OEM, whatever we've got to do to get the right genuine parts that need to go on that vehicle, whether it's Toyota labeled, Denso labeled, whatever brand of bearings, but as long as it's a OEM supplier, you know, that means, so, you know, whether it's say an NSK or a Koyo or whatever, replacing the Toyota one. In some cases you can't buy them from Toyota, so you got to buy them, and they're very hard to get a hold of a lot of the time. So we've got this kit, we put it together, we've got heaps in stock, they're very popular. You can buy the BFE kit, you're in the VIP group, then you can start doing your homework. Once you're a client, it's much easier for you to be able to ask questions in the VIP group, get replies, and say, hey Ant, and this is why we like to do it in these groups, so that we can help everyone at once. Hey Ant, I've got 160,000 Ks, but the car's 8 years old. It's a 2012 or 13. What do you reckon? You know, and it all depends. Again, you've had it since new. You've been listening to me for many years, and you've had it since 2015. You'll listen to me since 14 or 13, whatever the case may be. And nobody's ever had the fuel pipes off. It's clean, it runs quiet. No, you know what, we're going to push it out a little bit more if you want to. We're going to go 170, 180, 190, check the oil pickup just in case, because those seats can leak. I don't want to waste injectors. I want to help you stretch those as long as we can, but we do want to get them out, because we know once they're worn, they're not working that well. If you've got a 150 Prado, you still probably need a budget replacing the injectors about every 150k, regardless of kilometers, you know. Age, once they're 7 years old. But with the 120s, we can look at the readings and work out where they're at and sort of go, look, these are, you know, not too bad. You can get a bit longer out of them depending what your budget is, you know. Or you might say, you know, what are they like? If they're perfect, we don't want to change them. I don't care how much money you've got, right? But if you've got plenty of money, you might go, when they're sort of, yeah, I don't know, oh, well, I can afford it now, so let's do it. Well, then that's what we do. But if it's like, I can't afford it at the moment, we'll have a look at the ratings and I go, well, you need to afford it at the moment. This is bad. Or we go, well, that's all right, because, you know, there's probably another 6 months or a year. It's hard to put a life on them exactly. We just need to check them every 6 months once they get to that sort of 5-year thing. That's in the 120s. The 150s, you check them, but you're rarely going to see anything. If you see something, you need to change them, but you're not really going to see much, and then you just change them as prevention. Again, getting close to that 200,000 K mark, especially if they're full DLC. I'd like to tell you that the injectors are going to last pretty well generally till about 200,000 Ks. We get some people complaining they're noisy at 150. We see that wear on the nozzle needle through the DLC coating, and obviously we change them and they're all quiet again. So quiet is working well, is what you want. It is a difficult balance. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. If you've got this rattle where from 2 to 2.5 and you load it up or unload, and it's just that weird rattle, like something loose. People describe it as, oh, it's like a loose tap it, slappy tappy sort of sound. Yeah, that's kind of like the that's okay noise. But don't be confused, because it can sound very similar, and it's not okay if you haven't changed your injectors, right? Because it can be, that's what I mean, they're very closely related. But if you've done your injectors, it's not blowing. Look, I'll give you another example. So these two sets of injectors, the second and the fourth set, Same economy, no smoke. They didn't smell rich when you started up cold. The third set of injectors, although all the readings are good, they came out of a Prado that was quiet, they were noisy in the Hilux. It smelt rich when you started the engine up cold, very rich. You could smell it. None of this was in the readings. It didn't happen with the second set of injectors or the fourth set that's in it now, okay? Cold, it doesn't smell super rich. Now, even with that third set that were 170 odd thousand Ks, once it was warm, you could smell it a little bit, you know? Where this just smells clean now, these Thai. So don't be afraid of Japan or Thai, as long as it's all the right gear for the job. Be afraid of, be very careful where you buy injectors. I've said it before, I'm going to give you a final warning before I know what else I've got to add to this. If there's one thing you ever do, if you need injectors, mate, store my number in the phone now. It's only for text messages, it's not going to ring. It's to purchase injectors, BFE kits, front wheel bearing kits, or Dobinson suspension for your Prado. We might go into Hiluxes, so stay tuned on our Australian Facebook pages and all our groups. Watch our other videos, you'll find all that information, including the phone number, which is listed on our pages. Look up the Prado Hospital. It's listed there, you know. If you were to press call now, there's probably a button there, and then bang, there's the number. Store the number. Don't start ringing and text. The phone doesn't ring. It's text message service. It's a bit like an email or a website to purchase parts, but I'm at the other end, and if you do things at the right day, at the right time, you get personalised responses with the best information to suit your vehicle that you can get. And if you're already a client, already in the VIP, okay, you don't need a BFE, you're at 170k, you don't need it for a long time. Well then, if you know you're going to probably need injectors sooner or later, so you can pay your $550, you can start your training, teaching yourself by watching all the videos in the VIP group. Just going through Heathcote here, we're just about done. Up here normally, you know, you turn right to go to Chuka, but we're on a route headed towards, oh, there's that rail, have a listen to it. Okay, 1500. Just under 2 grand, 1800 revs at about 60 Ks. Can you hear that? And you'd almost say that. Anyway, back to this Hilux, too much chit chat. So we've been through so many changes to see if it makes any difference to the rattle. So what have we done? Obviously we've got genuine, lots of different genuine injectors, no difference. Of course all the new fuel pipes, we've checked with the valve clearances. It's never going to be valve clearances, trust me on that one. We've been around, so don't start thinking like, you know, I'm someone that's done 2 or 3 of these and I need some help. Believe me, we've been around with a few of these and we're just playing around here, right? Because we've tried different MAF sensors in case it's been damaged by someone cleaning it. We haven't changed the air filter yet. It didn't look too bad, so we haven't changed the air filter yet. So that's one more thing to go that I don't think it's going to be what solves any issues for us. We fitted a snorkel to the vehicle, didn't make any difference. So snorkel or not, no difference with rattles. Different MAF sensor, no difference. We tried a new suction control valve, no difference. So that's your fuel pressure. Your fuel pressure isn't going to change through this process. But, you know, we've looked at the fuel pressure, it was steady anyway, but we tried one anyway, okay? The fuel pressure's still good, there's no issue with the fuel pressure. So then you've got your injectors. So basically there's nothing wrong. It's a characteristic of the vehicle. We've tried a few other things, I can't remember what they are at the moment, but we've basically swap-gnosticed out any component that would make any difference. But there's nothing else that's going to make any difference. Like, you know, let's say, oh, what are you thinking? Crank sensor or a map sensor or all these other sensors, they're just not going to make any difference with what's going on with these rattles. And it is in a number of other vehicles as well. Let's check the comments afterwards. So what I'll say is don't worry about it. So I'm driving along now, cruise control set on, you know, the 100k mark. And as we go up and down some slight undulations of hills, you hear the rattle on and off a bit depending on the load conditions, because it's right on, just under 2000 revs, right on where that rattle starts, okay? And it does sound a little bit like there's a loose marble sitting on top of the piston type thing, but it's not that. There's nothing loose. The only thing that could be making some funny noises, I don't want you to get you confused with, is the camera mount up there on the windscreen, you know, that can make some squeak around noises here and there, especially in this Hilux with this rough EFS heavy duty suspension. Now don't get me wrong, it's good if you like firm handling and you've got some load in there, but we haven't got a lot of load in there. We've got an alloy tray that's bloody empty. So we've got our Dobinson's kit coming with the 040s, the lighter spring, with the monotubes all round. I'm not sure what spring we're putting in the front. I think we might be putting a 302 or a 314. So we'll let you know how that all goes as a comparison for comfort. I've had other clients that have supplied Hilux kits before that had heavier springs, and they put the lightest ones in and they went, wow, that is just so much better. Sorry about all the talking, guys. I'm even making myself tired. I hope you got some information there. I'm really doing my best to try and help you understand with the rattles what's normal and what's not. And these Hiluxes have certainly got a rattle. Now the problem we got with it is some of them are quiet. Now don't get me wrong, a lot of them make some noise, and for the limited time I drive them, it's easier for me to be fooled that they're quiet, where the owner could take a drive for hundreds and thousands of k's and go, well no, I hear plenty of rattles here and there at time. It is a diesel engine, so understand what's normal, what's not. I'm trying to help you do the best I can with that. To know the engine's running in peak condition, correct combustion, you just want to have it doesn't matter if it's a Toyota, a Nissan, a Mazda or what. Obviously different brands of injectors, and depending on their age, just like vehicles and everything else, the newer things are generally, the quality's getting better. But all these things do vary, and I know someone's going to say, oh, you don't have to put these injectors forever in some car or truck or 1,000,000 kilometers or 500,000, and you know what? We could push a set of these out to 500,000 as well. You can do that if you like, doesn't bother me. I'm here to give advice based on our experience. You're not going to have clean combustion and the engine running right at those sorts of kilometers with original injectors. They can't not wear with the pressures they're under. I'm sure, again, technology, manufacturing process, materials will get better again, and that may change one day. And the older your injectors are, the more they don't last that long, if you know what I mean. So anyway, that's enough chit chat. It's a beautiful day out here. I'm out of here. Just came up the subject by chance because I heard the rattles and I went, you know what, I've got to give you this is kind of the final feedback. So check out the other videos to find out what other components we've swapped and checked and swapped out, other tests we've done, because I can't remember what we've done, and some of it might even miss being in a video because we can't fit everything in there. But what I like to tell you is keep your oil clean, your filters clean, genuine filters. We've got a genuine fuel filter there. The genuine air filter is quite expensive. We'll do some shopping around on that. I'll probably go aftermarket, or I might put a K&N or a uni filter or something like that in the Hilux. We'll see. It's undecided yet. It'll probably be in another video, maybe. We're going to do some modifications on this Hilux and add a few accessories as we already have. And all those videos, if they get captured, will be in our 2013 Hilux playlist. So check that every now and then for any new additions to it, in case you miss it because you're refusing to subscribe and turn the bell on. Anyway guys, hopefully you got some info. If you liked it, hit the like button, and it's a bada bing bada boom. We're out of here. See ya.